This is Plan in Traffic, and we do this every Thursday night with the fellas and special guests. We don't have any guests tonight, but the crew. How's everybody doing tonight?
Very good.
Wonderful. Trying after all that rain we had.
Oh, yeah, we got it too. Yeah,
what's up with you guys?
Oh, it downpoured last night. Every time I got up, I couldn't fall back to sleep. I'm like, oh, boy, it was a ton of rain. I didn't get any flooding, but there are parts of the city, there's just normal places where you don't want to drive because the water's like
I
5 feet high.
Could not believe what I saw.
The road goes down like.
Yeah, on the news was like, whoa, what is going on?
Yeah, I was getting texts
my father
all
called
day.
me this morning from Florida.
Right.
I guess the subway got filled up too in the city.
Yeah.
You got to see the video.
New York, I hit that.
Water just pouring into the subways.
Yeah, it was like somebody opened up the Hoover Dam and let all the runoff run into the city. I was amazed.
A lot of the Western North Shore got a lot of Glenwood Landing. Actually, Port Jeff Station's underwater because that's a giant bowl already.
Really?
Yeah, I tell you, like I've been saying for a while now, like with all the storms where I am on the South Shore, we're in this nice little nook where everything just misses us. We just had rain and a lot of lightning. Done. But around us, it's like Jersey is like fell off the face of the earth almost. They got washed away. Newark and that area around there is just devastated.
My sister said a tornado.
Yeah,
ran right through like Comac and East Northport, and
it looks like
Centerport way up to the Sound. Yeah, Centerport.
Looks like Centerport got hit. Yeah, definitely.
Unreal.
Yeah.
So you guys got a little taste of what may happen here once or twice every 10 years.
Yeah, but we didn't. I mean, you had to be there to have. Like I said, I'm not that far away, and I didn't know nothing was going on.
Yeah, we had rain, but in between we got all that sunshine. So
right.
Hey Jack, you have to turn your camera and mic on.
And today was like the most gorgeous blue sky, 76-degree day. Like you couldn't ask for a better day than today.
It was cold here today.
Really?
And windy. I'm like, wow. I shut the garage door. It's been too hot. Now it's like, almost grabbed my sweatshirt out of my truck.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So, John.
Yeah.
It looks sitting a little high, or is that normal? I know it's a different angle, but the motor just seems a little high.
No, that's a big block.
And there's no little angle on it?
What's kind of weird is, and I don't know why, but typically the motor is lower in the back than the front.
Yeah, just a little bit. Not much, maybe a half an inch difference.
This one's like dead level.
Yeah, it looks that way. It needs a dual quad high rise on there or a big
No. I'm putting a really, really short manifold because right now.
Because the wife needs to be able to see over it.
Oh, right,
No, I don't know if you heard. I saw an ad on Facebook. A guy selling a 72 Firebird like this, Formula 400.
Ooh.
And he's got the stock Formula 400 hood on the car. And then when I kept going through the photos, he's got a big block in it. He's got a 427 in the car. And I'm like, wait a second. I put a big block in the first car back in the early 80s, and I couldn't use the hood because it was sat up too high.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what did this guy do? And then I zoomed in on the photo of the engine. And
he was stalking him.
No. Hey, I don't care. The guy's selling a car. I'm interested in. I'm looking for me. It's all about me. You know what I'm saying? So he has a dual plane Edelbrock Performer manifold.
Low profile ones.
So a Performer manifold is basically a better version of a stock GM manifold.
Yeah.
Dual plane. It's set up for either a quadrajet or a square bore Holley, which is like what that is. It's dual bolt circle on the carburetor. So I'm like, oh, it's okay. Because that manifold's good to like 46, maybe 4,700 RPM. I'm not looking to make crazy horsepower out of this motor. I don't know what this motor makes. I have, like Ray said, I took the valve covers off. It's got stock steel stamped rocker arms. No, but it's
studs.
Yeah, everything in here is brand spanking new. It's got good castings. They're oval port, big oval port castings. I pulled the manifold off, and it's immaculately spotless, and the camshaft still has the assembly lube on it. And I pushed down on one of the rockers. It's not a solid cam; it's a hydraulic cam.
Good.
So, I don't know anything about the hydraulic cam that's in it. I don't know bore size because I haven't pulled the head off the thing. I don't know what pistons are in it. It could be a 396. I was told it's like a 30 or a 60 over 454. I don't know.
Can you give them those camera things and go through the spot plug hole and see if you can see the inside?
Well, it's not gonna tell me the bore size, so I'll pull ahead.
You don't think it might have like a little number stamped at the top and you can happen to read it?
No, not at all. You gotta put a dial caliper across the board to see how big it is.
Even if it said plus 30 or plus 60, what was the original circle? What was the original bore? You
That's what I'm saying. If it's a 396 and it's 60 over, that's a weird size.
Yeah, it's a 412 or something.
Yeah, some oddball dealy. If it's a 427, 454, that's fine. But either way, I'm not changing.
Runs, it doesn't matter.
You know what you can do, John? I did this with the big block when I was restoring it at the shop, the Chevelle. Before I took the cam out, I actually used a dial indicator through the lifter bore and measured the lift of the cam, measured the intake and exhaust lift, and I could determine what cam it was. So
I'm assuming when I pull the timing cover off, there'll be something written on the front of the cam.
Yeah, most of them have some type of numbers on it.
Comp cams, crane cams, whatever cam it is, with a part number. And then I could just look it up. I'll take a look at how it's set. It may be set at 0. It may be advanced. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about it. This is a giant question mark.
Yeah.
But the guy that I bought it from, who bought it from the other guy, said the motor's never been run. And it's obviously been prepped. There is no surface rust. I mean, everything is clean, like it just came from the engine shop.
Yeah.
That's good.
It should be.
It doesn't take much to start it.
But I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed at the engines guys build and then don't run them to break them in. They just that Caddy engine was sat for 15 years without being run.
Yeah, there's 0 pattern on the camshaft lobes. It has not been run. This thing has not been run, so it worked out good. And then I remember when I put the big block in my car, the front of the motor was higher than the back of the motor.
Yeah.
The only thing I can attribute it to here is this does not have. When I put the big block in my car, I went to Chevy and I bought the frame mounts for a 70, 71 SS 396.
Right.
Put those on the frame. The holes were already there, the 3 holes. And then I put Moroso solid motor mounts on it. And to me, I remember, and I'm sure if I can find a photo from a side view, that the front of the motor's higher than the back of the motor, and that's typical of the way they put the motors in the car.
Maybe the transmission mount's holding it higher.
The more I'm looking at it, the funnier it looks because they're never dead solid. It's for driveline angle. You do it
and the only thing I can attribute it to is the mounts that are on the frame are some aftermarket ones.
There you go.
That I've never seen before. Along with here's the issue. Moroso makes like 2 different solid mounts that bolt onto a big block. One is a short, wide one. One is a taller, slightly narrow one. I have both. For some reason, this car came with both. I started with the shorter ones first, and the pan literally sat on the cross member before I could even get the bolts where they had to go.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, it's not those. So I took those off and I put the taller ones on. Now the problem is the taller ones are ever so slightly narrower on the inside than the outside of these frame mounts.
Yeah.
So instead of being dead square, they're kind of out a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But they fit because that's what was on it when I got the car. So I guess the guy just kind of like slammed it and they spread. And the bolt goes right through. It's not a problem. So I'm like, hell, I'm just going to use them. And you can like put your fingers between the pan and the cross member, which is right.
Mm-hmm.
The transmission cross member is a stock transmission cross member. It's really not sitting in the recessed area of the frame, which would lower it probably by about that much, maybe a half an inch. So that's going to drop it. The transmission mount that I bought is from Energy Suspension. It's one of those polyurethane ones. And I'm thinking that that whole thing is slightly taller than a factory mount because you got the polyurethane. It's got like 2 pieces of metal embedded inside.
Yeah.
Right.
And they give you a steel plate that they want you to put on top of the mount before you bolt it to the motor. And it's something to do with the way the urethane is injected into the actual base. It creates a sandwich.
Yeah.
But I believe what that does is that pushes the mount further down, which would push the transmission further up.
Yeah, but you're only talking a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit more. It's like a 3/16 plate.
Oh, well.
So the whole thing looks bigger than a regular one, but I'm fine with it because it's a nice mount. And even though I use solid mounts on the engine, I never put a solid mount
Your
on
wife's
the
going to hate that.
because they have a tendency to wind up splitting cases sooner or later. So I always leave a urethane type mount, unless it's a all-out drag car and everything's solidly mounted front to back, then it's not a problem. So I believe when I modify this cross member so it doesn't lay on top of the rails, I'm going to cut it. And I bought tabs.
Oh, there you go.
And I've got tubing. So what'll happen is this will get cut. A bolt goes straight through. This will be welded to the cross member, below the cross member. And then 4 of these tabs will get attached to the chassis. And that way it just drops out.
Yeah.
So you don't have to fiddle around with trying to get 2 bolts up through the chassis with the nuts on top and all of that. I don't have to mess with any of that. So I believe that's going to pull the transmission down a little bit when I do that, which will get this thing off from being level and drop the back of the motor a little bit. So right now when I measure it, I'm about a half an inch. The bowl vent is about a half an inch above the top of the cowl.
Oh, wow.
Which is like, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So bring the transmission down. You may be like at cowl height, which you still won't be able to put an air cleaner in there. But that's a strip dominator, mid to high RPM manifold. And I'm not using that manifold. So I'm going to use that performer manifold, which is going to take that carburetor and drop it almost an 1 3/4 to 2 inches lower than it sits now, maybe even more. I don't know how tall that manifold is, but it's like stock. So then with a low profile air cleaner, I'm golden.
Hey, let me check and see if Jack, can you hear us? Because he's on his mic. Yes. We can't hear you, though.
Can't see him either.
No.
Well, he said he doesn't have a camera.
No.
Oh.
Let me see if I can turn the mic up. Say something, Jack.
The more I'm looking at it, the funnier you do.
And the only thing I can attribute it to is the mount that are big delay.
All right. Somebody, you know what? Jack's on something that he's still watching it on his computer, I think.
On the background.
So now it's echoing.
Yeah, about a minute delay. like Ray's show Sunday.
Yeah, please. Just the first 20 minutes. That's thanks, Rob Leonard. See, you get new guys back in the studio. They screw everything up on you.
Hey, Jack, can you go on your phone? You could probably do it through your phone and then have video too.
John, I love those fabricated valve covers. Those are the best looking ones.
Yeah, those are nice.
I like a nice set of MTs myself.
Oh, the old school.
I have those
with the lines and the MT in the middle.
Yeah. I was going to say, John, the real test, acid test is going to be when you see the drive shaft angle, because that's critical.
Yeah, drive shaft is shaft's going to go uphill.
That's
from the transmission.
It can, but it can only be within a certain amount of degrees, or else you get all sorts of harmonics.
And it's supposed to be exactly the same angle, right? Regardless, the pinion angle and the transmission, you always want to have them the same, regardless. Like not like
the pinion angle is going to change with the suspension.
Yeah,
that's why you have a U-joint.
Yep.
But I know I use the Kiesler app on my phone to do all the driveline angles, and they want you. I think the max was like 3 degrees.
Yeah.
I get the app, but the Tremec has one. The driveline angle finder.
That's exactly what I'm using. I said Kiesler because that's where I got the transmission from, but it's the Tremec app.
Yeah.
And
I've done it before with numerous cars, and we've never had a vibration issue or a problem, so I'm not going to worry about it. It'll work out fine. So anyway, Lewis, getting back to what I was saying, my car, this car that I'm recreating, was originally a Formula 400. Had those dual snorkels on the hood.
The best hood Pontiac ever made.
Which is the best hood Pontiac ever made. Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous looking. And I cried like a baby when I couldn't use it anymore.
Yeah.
It worked fine when I had a small block in it, and then when I decided I needed to put my big boy pants on and put a big block in the car, see you later, bye with that hood. I sold it. I couldn't use it.
Can you even find one now?
Oh, big money.
Oh yeah, but they're ridiculous money, and they're garbage. First of all, a mint condition one on your car from the factory was a piece of shit because of the way it was built. It's built with that thick layered fiberglass that they used when they made Corvettes in the 70s.
Yeah.
And they never fit the car. There's not a Firebird in existence with a Formula hood that doesn't have a bow somewhere or a corner that's too high. The hood is just a piece of shit. It's the best looking hood, but it's a piece of shit.
I'm sure somebody's recreated it.
Yeah, well, that's what I just ordered one. 12 weeks. Yeah, $600 from VFN Fiberglass. And it weighs almost nothing, and it's a bolt-on hood that you use your hinges to. They told me that the shipping weight is 32 pounds.
So you got to change the springs, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to use those ones with the gas struts.
Oh, yeah. Those are neat.
Yeah, billet ones. So the original hood has got to weigh all of about 75 pounds. It's big and long and wide and super heavy, and it's fiberglass outer with a fiberglass inner structure, and there's nothing light about it whatsoever.
It's just an old school heavy material.
Yeah, and mine on the car, it had a bow mid hood along the fender line on the passenger side, where the hood was literally that far above the fender. And my body guy said the only way we can fix that is if we pie cut the bottom piece of the frame and put weight on it and fiberglass it from the underneath. And I'm like, just leave it alone.
That's not a factory steel hood?
It's not a steel hood. It's a factory fiberglass.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And they're, like I said, they're horribly made. It was the technology then.
Yeah.
Now, you buy an aftermarket hood, they're usually pretty right on. So we'll see. That's a whole nother thing. But I got a body guy that'll have to worry about that.
Right.
Yeah, you got a guy.
Yeah.
Hey, so
I'm excited that I can put with that shorter manifold. I could literally get this thing completely under because I was kind of really going back and forth. I don't want to put a cowl induction hood on here, even a short one, because that's a Chevrolet hood.
Yeah, it looks good though.
And it looks okay, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not 100% behind it.
Yeah.
And if it was a Trans Am, if I was building this as a Trans Am, I wouldn't have anything to complain about because the scoop, the Trans Am hood scoop, would be okay with the carburetor up inside it.
Yeah, the shaker, right.
And then I could just use a real small air cleaner.
Yeah.
And it would have been zero issues whatsoever. But the car was never a Trans Am, it was a Formula. So now that I could put a Formula hood back on it, the car is gonna, the body is, it's a stock Formula Firebird body front to back. It's got the 3-piece stock wing on the back, steel fenders, steel doors, steel quarter panel, steel roof. It's a stock body with a giant set of tires in the back, which I think is really cool because it's kind of old school, but it's sort of modern at the same time.
Right.
And I just think those clean lines. I mean, the consensus is the 70 to 73 Firebirds were probably the best looking Firebirds they ever built. It's got that beak with those 2 big grills. It's just a good looking car. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm not happy that I got to wait 12 weeks for a hood, but what are you going to do?
Right. You see what he wrote? Should we wave at him?
Yeah, I got
everybody wave at Jack.
Jack.
So Lewis, how's the bus coming?
How's the
Anything
bus
going on?
Yeah, I'm working on real tedious stuff. Like I'm making some braces, some brackets. I'm still taking out some panels off the ceiling. A lot of rivets I got to drill out, punch out. So it's just tedious stuff. You know what I mean? Time consuming.
Territory.
Yep. So once I get the floor done, then it should go pretty good because everything else is like building. Instead of tearing out, I'll be building. You know what I mean?
Yeah, rivets. I know, man. Drilling rivets. Ugh. You get that drill bit, the right size drill bit, and you just start putting those donuts on the bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the bit gets full, take a pair of pliers.
Yeah.
And just go while you spin the drill, and they go flying. Everything. You go back to drill. Yeah. Every time I had to redo tin work in a car, maybe a car that got crashed or a car that came in for, upgrades, there's hundreds of rivets that had to get drilled out, and that's such tedious work. It's just and then you get those ones where the rivet wasn't set properly, so the drill bit hits it and it spins. And then you start rocking the bit from left to right to try and tear the head off, and then you wind up with the piece still inside, and you take your spring-loaded center punch.
Yeah.
And then it winds up in the chassis.
Yeah, I started using the air chisel.
Yeah.
With the punch. So I started knocking them out that way, and then
that works.
Going back with the regular chisel and knocking them off. So it ain't bad. It's just a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Yeah. Buses have a lot of rivets.
Yeah.
Hey,
and they're
Jack.
big. What size bit you got to use to get those things off? Because a lot of rivets I see on a bus are large.
Yeah.
3/16? No.
Yeah. I think that's what I was using. 316.
Yeah.
Jack. I think you're talking about the bus that I posted the other day. Everybody thought it was my bus. I was just posting it because it was nice. It was somebody else's bus, so I'm not even close to that.
Did you start making the extension pieces for the roof?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm ordering them. Company's make them for me. Yeah, so I don't have to cut and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? They'll come. I'll lift the roof, weld them in, throw some duct tape on it, and keep on moving.
Awesome.
Gotta love that quack tape.
That's cool.
Scott, you were going to ask me something. Or is that what you were going to say about the bus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't noticed a lot of pictures, so.
Yeah, I'm working on the video too. That takes a lot of time. Terry wasn't playing when he said it takes 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
I haven't done any video on this thing at all.
Yeah, I've been letting the cab put a couple cameras up and just let them run. Then I'll come back in and do some editing.
I should do that. I'm too lazy.
You talk about those rivets. Toyotas, the door speakers, they rivet in the speakers. Mm-hmm. And you sit there with the drill, and the thing starts spinning, just like you were talking about.
Sucks.
So I just keep going at angles, and then the speaker pops out, and part of the rivet's still in the door, and you gotta like drill them, and then the pot falls inside, and it's aluminum, so you can't get a magnet. And I don't want to rattle inside in there, so I end up taking dum and putting it around my finger, and there it is. Throw. They're using aluminum wires, Ray, inside like 15 and up Toyotas, and the wire corrodes at the connector that plugs onto the speaker from the moisture.
That's smart.
Oh, isn't that smart? They're trying to lighten up these cars with aluminum wire. But
well, let me ask you a question, Scott, because being an audiophile all my life, one of the first things I learned was you always use the biggest speaker wire that you can, for less resistance. Monster cable.
How much power and resistance, of course.
Right. Monster wire, battery cables, welding, whatever you got.
Yeah.
And guys are still using stuff looks like garden hose for cable. But you look at a car, even a late model car that has a high post stereo with it, and it's these little tiny wires, like what are they, like 24 gauge? It's like, wait a minute, that just blew everything out of the water that I ever learned about wiring amplifiers and speakers. And
they don't care. The manufacturers don't care.
They sound good, but they still have the sound. The speakers get the punch. The highs are there. They don't sound bad. They sound great, in fact, and yet they're using these tiny little wires.
Yeah, but from the radio to the speaker, you probably only get 6 feet per speaker, and the rear, what is it, 17 feet, 18 feet? So the length and the resistance isn't a bad thing, and the factory systems are probably only 25 watts, Not like a home system, you got 75, 100, 150 watts.
Well, I'll go you one further. I picked up a set of 4 Allison bookshelf speakers from the 60s. These things were audiophile grade deluxe, and I had to change a couple of the foams in the drivers. You pull them out, and they got like small gauge wires running from to the speakers. Again, they're only going a couple feet. You're right, but even back then. I mean, these things are bona fide 1960s loudspeakers.
Probably 18 gauge from the terminal to the speaker.
I don't even think it's that. I don't think it's even that fat. But it's crazy. So I don't know. It just makes me kind of rethink it. I think it's probably the speaker wire manufacturers that that propagated the myth to make you just spend more money on copper wire.
To a point, yeah. I mean, I think too, like an 8-ohm speaker requires less resistance. I mean, just less resistance, I think, to move it than a 2-ohm speaker. So
usually 8 or 4 with house or car, but
right. So maybe a lower ohms kind of would need more to keep up the lower impedance. I'm not sure if that would make a difference.
You should know that. You're an audio guy.
Right.
You always go bigger is better in the story. So as Ray said.
I agree with that.
And Crutchfield just made a post tonight that I saw on Twitter. They're putting out a list of the 5 best navigation-based in-dash units. Ooh, and my question, but do you stock them? Are they?
No, everybody's out of stock. You can't get anything right now.
That's my question. I'm still in the market for one, but if I can't buy it, what the hell do I want to read the article?
Well, the very expensive ones are in stock.
No,
but no one's buying $1,800, $1,500 navs.
Right.
They want one for $800, and it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
And then supposedly, 2 weeks ago, they just closed the port in China. I don't know if it reopened, and I don't know how long it's going to close, but that's going to affect Christmas time, and not just electronics, but everything comes from China.
Well, the vice president went to Vietnam and said, you should buy your Christmas presents now.
The vice president should have brought me back a new FJ Cruiser.
He should retire real quick because we don't need her or our president right now.
I thought it was kind of funny that she told the people of Vietnam you should buy your Christmas presents now because of issues in shipping. And I'm like, the F does that have to do with anything?
And listen, it's everything. It's everything is backed up, even down to pallets, the wood pallets. They're having a hard time.
I got plenty of them.
I don't understand that one. I've got 3 miles away from me, around the corner from my shop, are 2 pallet yards. That I swear to God, if somebody throws a match, it'll be a wildfire worse than they got in California.
Right.
And then in Clearwater, where one of my aquarium wholesalers is, there's a pallet place over there that's got to be 6 acres, and the stuff is stacked 3 to 5 stories high.
Wow.
So I don't believe that there's a pallet shortage at all.
Well, no, it's not a pallet shortage. It's the price of the wood is where the problem's coming in. So people can't afford to buy the pallets, and they're not shipping stuff on pallets because they got so expensive. Yep.
Everything's crazy.
So did you you guys see the price of a container, like a 40-foot container is now? The move from China. So it used to be like 2,000-3,000. Then it was like 6, 8. You know, the tariff thing affected everything. Went up. It was 14,000-16,000. Now I hear it's like $22,000.
Wow.
Or something stupid like that. It keeps going up. So that's why everything's going up for price too, you know?
Yeah.
I read an article that said a lot of the electronics companies that have stuff built in China told them just store the containers. We don't want them right now.
Wow.
Yeah, things ain't looking good.
So
like I
if
said,
there's electronics coming out of China, a lot of them are just sitting in a yard somewhere in China. Which is kind of
when I was coming up through Kentucky, man, I seen at the Kentucky racetrack all those Fords sitting over there, man. It was just unbelievable.
You know, there was a thing on the news, and then I had something to do, and I didn't get to watch it on my local news. That it said that all the major manufacturers are planning on shutting down the facilities.
Yeah,
I believe so.
There's no sense in building any more cars when they've got literally millions of them waiting for chips. Yeah. So they can't change the production to move to the next year. So I don't know what they're going to do, because when they build a car, if they built a 2021, it's 2021. You can't sell it as a 2022 because of the VIN number. And they're not going to go in there and change VIN numbers. That's impossible.
No.
Because even like this old Heap, when Ray knows when I got it, there's a VIN number in the dashboard that's on a metal tag. And then when you strip the car down, the VIN number is stamped next to where the blower motor goes. Then inside, when you pull the air conditioning condenser off the firewall, the VIN number is stamped there too. And I'm sure it's stamped in a couple of other places on the car.
There's hidden VINs all over the place.
Yeah. So they're not going to be able to just change VIN numbers and say, well, yeah, it's a 2022. Can't do that.
The only thing that they can do with a new car, like if you hook up a scan tool to any modern car, you have a choice to put the information in manually or let it scan the car, and it'll come up with the year, make, model, and VIN, because it pulls from the ECU. So I'm wondering if the chip is newer production, they could probably change it that way, because then it would see it from that new chip. But then again, the VINs are also stamped on the body. So
right,
I don't know.
They're stamped on the parts, and they're in the dashboard. You know? They're in the dashboard. So what are you going to do with that? They're gonna have to sell these as leftovers. They're gonna take a bath on them.
You know what? The best bet would be to discount them, sell them as leftovers, and just clear them out. I mean, they're new vehicles, so they're going to be, they're not like they're lemons or blems or anything. Discount the hell out of them and start again.
Unless they were in a parking lot where the floods came.
Right. In Newark. Store them in
Yeah, right?
Well,
Put them in the airport.
I get a guy, we buy a lot of OEM integration parts, adding CD players to newer cars and backup camera interfaces and adding nav and CarPlay to factory radio. So anyway, he was part of some meeting about 3 weeks ago with Ford and GM. I don't know who else. And like GM, so they don't have backup cameras. They don't have blind spot monitors. They don't have all these parts to finish the cars. So supposedly they're going to ship these cars now. And then we're able to add, and I guess I said, what about blind spot monitors? And the light's going to be already built into the mirrors. He says, yeah, they're already part of the car, but the main modules aren't. And this is all going to be plug and play for us. Like this company's able to buy these parts that GM was getting, and it's where GM needs to order 100,000 of them. They can't get 100,000 of them, so they don't order any. where this company can buy like 15,000 of them or 20-something thousand. So we're gonna be able to add all this stuff to these cars: backup cameras, backup sensors, blind spot monitors, navigations, and even there's gonna be some radio delete stuff. And supposedly we're gonna be able to buy all this factory stuff and put it in after. And when I say after, I mean like if this happened next month, we'd be able to get the parts then and do it. Where GM can't. Or Ford. So I don't know what's going on. I'm still waiting to hear more about it, because after he told me about this, then they're talking about shutting down and this, and I'm like, he says, just give us some time. This is what's happening. Okay.
Have you done it? Have you done any work with 5th gen Camaros?
5th gen is what, the latest one?
The new stuff, yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, 5th gen's one below. Latest is
like 12, 14. That style, or is that the new one?
No, what's the new one? Isn't that 5th generation?
No, new one is 6th.
6th. Oh, yeah, that's right. I skipped the generation. Yeah.
I think I've done maybe a remote starter and a couple of speaker upgrades. Not really. I don't see many come in.
Well, I saw this. I was looking at these posts last night, and quite a few guys have taken the center console from a new Camaro and put it in these second.
Oh, I've seen some pictures and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and
that's what
they fit with, just minor modifications.
The angles and stuff.
The cool thing is it slopes up in the front, and there's a large screen, touch screen, right there. Which I'm like, wow, that's awesome, because the original ones on these cars, it was either just a tray that you would just throw stuff in, or
the 8-track would go.
You could buy a Delco 8-track that would fit in there, which I don't want anything to do with any of that, period.
Right. Yeah. Well, John, you have to go look at...
I would like to go and try and use a brand new console, because then that would give me a spot to put a large, touchscreen system in the car, which would be great, because then you can hide the radio.
What about the heater control? Is that what they're using on it, or they're not using it and just making a new panel?
No, they're still using the heater control up in the dashboard.
So they're probably, where the radio fits, they're probably taking and making something that fits that footprint and putting an aftermarket screen in there.
Well, that's what I would like to do, because my AC controls are going to be in the dashboard where the stock stuff was.
Yeah, with the cables.
But it's just no cable deal. It's just a 3-knob electric one from Vintage Air.
Right.
Because I'm just going to have a custom dashboard with the gauges and some switches and things like that. So I'll use their 3-knob deal, which works perfect. And then where the radio goes, I don't know, either cut it out and put a single DIN deal in there, or put a blank sheet, and maybe I can do something else with it, or just use a radio delete plate.
Do you have the brushed aluminum on that dash?
It's actually going to be, it's because I'm recreating, it's actually going to be blue mirrored plexi.
Oh, so you could cut a blue mirror plexi where the radio was.
Yeah.
And
hey, John.
Well, what I had was, not to interrupt you, I went to the Pontiac dealer. I got the plate that goes in there. When you opt out, no radio.
Oh, the radio's
and then I went to the local stereo guy, and it was a place called Cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're a big chain.
They had these cardboard, full size, samples of what the radio looks like.
Oh yeah.
So you could take this like AudioVox or whatever radio and go and stick it in front of your stock radio to see what it would look like. So I got one of those. It was actually a Pioneer, and I just put some glue on the back, glued it to that plate. So when you look in the car, it looked like it had a radio, but it didn't. It was just a picture of a radio. It worked out perfect.
That's cool.
Yeah, Stitched by Slick. You need to go check out his Instagram. Remember, he was on the show a couple years ago?
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. He's doing interior swaps, and he's doing Porsche. He's putting Porsches in like Impalas and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, well, I'm not changing the dashboard. I'm using I have a mint condition Firebird dashboard.
Yeah, but he does the consoles and stuff too.
Yeah, the console. I want to put a late model console in there. I think that would look really cool. And it's got 2 cup holders built into it, and it's got a little, glove box in the back piece.
Yeah.
And they're all saying, they're all showing it, saying just minor trimming, and it slides right in.
Yep.
And I'm like, that works great for me because I'm using an automatic shifter that's a cable shifter, so I can mount that shifter wherever it's got to go. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
They're also using Malibu. The Malibu interiors are fitting in those cars too.
That's got a neat looking console on those.
Yeah.
We just had one in the other day, 18, I think, or 17.
And I didn't even think about that. I was like, well, maybe I'll get a console. Maybe I won't get a console. And then I saw these photos, and I'm like, oh man! And the guy's got this touch screen in it. It looks like a I don't know, about maybe a 10-inch diagonal touch screen. And I'm like, that would be perfect, absolutely perfect. Because then, like I said, the radio is just a radio. It's not something you're physically touching because you're using a touch screen to tune and do all of that stuff. So I'm sure I can find something that
Well, I talked to Slick.
Command that.
I talked to Slick about putting a new Cadillac interior in my 77. He goes, "Oh yeah." He said, "Oh yeah, we start out at 15,000." I was like, "Okay, won't be doing that."
Right.
John, I was trying to find a picture of my my show truck, but this was our 70 Chevelle. I built that from scratch. That's the original shifter with a cup holder, the gauges, and an armrest that comes up to the height because the stock Chevelle was way down between the seats. It's not even an armrest. It's useless.
Right.
But I molded it, so it matches to the bottom edge of the dash,
Yeah,
so,
that's cool.
I mean, you can just use, whatever wood, plywood, and foam it after and vinyl it and shape whatever contour you want,
That's true too. Yeah, that's a whole nother way of doing it.
And it's kind of neat.
You can buy the vinyl.
It's easy to say, I built that,
Right.
Unless you just don't have the time to do it, You can make a cool sheet metal one. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I could build it out of sheet metal or wood and then just have it covered in the same vinyl as
you
the
foam
seats
it all up and then you
board
cover it
panels.
with vinyl.
Yeah. Well, that's something that'll come up.
I'm putting a 2002 Grand Prix interior in the Cadillac. That's what I have. I have all those parts.
2002.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
I remember
that's a nice
that.
dashboard.
Yep, that's what's
That's
going
a
in the
good looking
caddy.
dashboard.
Hey, Scott, I saw a woman the other day came in. She's got a new Mazda. It's either an X5 or an X9. And she was all pissed off.
CX5 or CX9?
Oh, probably, yeah. And she was all pissed off they didn't put a CD player in.
Yeah, they don't cover.
So she says, "Can I add one?" And I'm like, with the newer radios, I don't know. It used to be you throw it in the trunk, you tune in a 88.7. So what's the take? You got any information I could tell her?
So there's a lot of companies that are making. It's about, let's say, an inch and a half tall by, I'd say, 5.5, 6 inches square. It's a plain black box with an eject button and a CD slot, and you can mount them like double-side tape inside the center console. It has a USB cable, and it plugs into the USB of the radio, and it uses like a USB memory stick sort of protocol. But the company we deal with, they have USB 1 and USB 2. They call it like a CD USB 1 and a CD USB 2. Some cars use one or the other, and some cars it's not incompatible, which I don't understand. How can one car manufacturer, like you could take a memory stick with music on it, plug it in, and it works, right? So why can't you just take this and plug it in? I don't get it. But anyway, then they make this adapter that goes in between and has a knob, and you turn the knob one way to track down and track up. So it doesn't give you information on what track or anything on the screen, but it allowed the sound to go through. And I think they sell for like $250 or $200. I would just search USB CD player for car and see what maybe comes up. I noticed a few companies that have them, And I think everyone's just slapping a name on the same one and making them look a little different, but I think they're all the same.
All right.
But some of them, you put the CD in and it doesn't let you play it for 15 seconds. It like wants to see it stop playing and it like overwrites itself and then it'll play.
Right.
The other thing is if you have auxiliary, you tell the guy to buy a CD Walkman and plug it into the aux.
Yeah.
Well, I have aux.
Well, that's what happened. I rented that 2021 RAV4, and I was going to bring my satellite radio, but it didn't have an aux port. I'm like, damn. You know, so they're getting rid of that too.
The only way you're doing it is get the app for your phone and stream it Bluetooth.
Right. That would work. Yes. Correct.
I have a USB, and then I have that small one. What's that weird small thing? That's
around or the
You're talking about 3.5 millimeter aux port, the male plug.
It's flat on the top, flat on the bottom, and angled on the sides.
Oh, this one.
HDMI?
No.
It's not an HDMI.
It's a USB-C.
C, yes.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah,
a lot of guys are using those because of
in my dashboard, I have. That's what my truck's got. I got a regular USB that I plug my phone in, which brings up that Apple CarPlay
Apple
stuff.
CarPlay.
Right.
Then I've got that little one, that USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
Then next to that, I have what should have been a cigarette lighter. So you can like plug in any kind of thing that works off a cigarette lighter plug.
Yeah.
And then next to that, I have a 20 amp, 120 volt outlet.
Oh, right on the center console there on the front.
Flip up cover. Yeah, right in the front.
Wow, that's up front.
Yeah. And then I have another one in the back in the bed.
Yeah.
I have an outlet. And there's an inverter under the hood.
Yeah.
That allows you to do stuff. But not like a Ford that claims they can run your whole house, which I highly
I'd like to see that.
Actually,
yeah, I'd like to see that.
I'm just thinking, I got an inverter too with an outlet in the back. I'm thinking it was like a 400 watt
inverter.
It's like you can only use like I think 150, 120, 150 watts while you're in motion, and then when the vehicle's not in motion, you can get the full 400. I'll have to find that. But that's all for camping and stuff and powering your house. So
Jack's putting up all kinds of good links and all kinds of comments about stereos and stuff.
Yeah, he is. Ken Wood.
He's got all of that stuff. Oh, you hear that thunder?
No.
Storm coming.
Yeah.
It's loud.
Hey,
Is there a way to pull a picture up from my computer on here?
No, you're not allowed anymore.
Yeah. I don't know why they changed it, but who knows?
I want to show John a picture. I'll just take a picture of my phone and then shoot it back on the page here in a second.
Jack was saying that he used a Marina.
A marine one, yeah, they're short.
Yeah,
A lot of boat dashboards. There's no room behind them.
I was gonna put one of those on the bike. I still might. Kenwood makes a real nice one.
All right. Let me get out of here. Shut off my thing.
100 watts when it's in use and 400 watts when the vehicle's not in motion.
We can't see it, Scott. Or are you trying to?
No, I'm trying to shut off my hard drive.
So what are you guys hearing about SEMA? I'm starting to hear some bad stuff, man.
Really?
Like what? I heard that they're gonna test your temperature at the door, and you got to wear a mask.
So
and
I guess
the other thing I read
said have to have it tested.
The thing I read said there's nobody coming here from Europe, not allowing them to come in yet. So we don't got to worry about the skanky European diseases.
So, John, it's hard to see in this picture. That center console is a 2010 Toyota Camry with an IROC Camaro shifter, and below the radio there's a blank panel. That's where the factory heater used to be, and I made a piece of wood. I DA'd it, and then below that is a door that you push it and it opens up. And then I don't know if you can see my flames on the side of the console.
No,
a little bit.
It's washed out.
Yeah, you can't really see it.
Oh, I see something there.
Yeah, I got my flames. I wish I had a better picture to show you. But so I had taken the console and I got it in the vehicle and I fiberglassed, extended it, and then I foamed it. Actually, I think I put ABS plastic behind, and then I fiberglass and I put the foam, and then I wrapped it. So it looks like it was supposed to be there, you know? So I kind of improvised. I figured out how to make it work. It's got a cup holder that flips open, and then I had the IROC Camaro shifter originally in there, so it all works. The armrest opens up, and I took out the original box. I got a CD changer in there, and it's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, you could take something from any car and make it work. If you just got to spend the time to do it. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what did you hear about SEMA? Because I've been getting their posts, but I haven't seen anything else.
So I hear that you have to have a card saying you've been vaccinated, or within the
week,
2 days,
or a test,
2 days you have to be tested with proof
That's what
that
Lou
you
was
were tested.
saying.
But what kills me is, let's say you've been vaccinated, you could get the virus and give it to somebody else, but you don't actually get sick. So the people that are not vaccinated could end up getting the virus from people walking around that have been vaccinated that have the virus.
Yep. You know, the whole thing's a fiasco.
Well, it is everywhere. Yeah, it's.
What are you
Florida, I hear, is bad.
Yeah, indoor masks too.
They keep saying Florida's a disaster, but I don't know. I'm not running up into anybody that's sick. My hospitals are not loaded. They keep saying, "Oh, the hospitals are crazy. We got no room," and I'm like, "Really? Don't lie, because it's not the truth."
All we know how to do is lie.
I know.
We got a local club. They have a banquet room when they have bands play, and they played Friday night. And I guess as of Tuesday, 5 of the members got COVID, and then like 2 of the people that were at the club had COVID, and then was pointing that they got it from these people, or these people got it from the band, and it's going back and forth, and it's just so anyway. The club decided we're going to shut down, no more live bands. It's a bar with a banquet room, so if you want to come and have beer or whatever, but they're not having any more live bands because there's so many people are coming. You know, it's just I haven't been vaccinated. I'm not planning on doing it. I'm one of those guys that everyone hates. I'm sorry. That's how I feel.
Dude, I don't hate you for it. I got it. Either. I went and got vaccinated. You know why? Because I don't want to hear the fucking government bullshit.
So you have that little microchip in you then?
Yeah, right. Bullshit. I don't want to have to be aggravated when I fly somewhere. I don't want to have to be aggravated. I want to be able to get in the face of the asshole restaurant owner that says you can't come in if you didn't get the jab, and I could stick that thing in his face and go, "Yeah, well, fuck you. I got the card."
Did you see on the news some woman? I don't know where it was or where she was going, but she had a fake card, and the word they wrote it wrong. What's that?
They spelled the name of the company.
Yeah. I'm like, really?
Pfizer. They spelled it wrong.
No, not that. The other one.
Oh, was it the other one?
Yeah.
ER.
So yeah. My wife's a teacher, and there's quite a few people whose kids, there's quite a few kids that they're migrant workers in the school. So she's like, "I'm getting a vaccine because I got to deal with this crap every single day, 5 days a week." She goes, "And I don't know if I'm going to be bringing this thing home or not or whatever." So she goes, "You should get it too." So that's it. We both got it. I'm not aggravated by it. I had 0 issues after I got both of them. I got Moderna. No, it was like they injected water in my vein.
It probably is.
I never got sick since this thing showed up, okay? Never had any symptoms whatsoever. Shortness of breath, weakness, none of that.
I'm immune to it.
Absolutely nothing. I got the shot, the first one, absolutely nothing. Got the second shot, absolutely nothing. I feel fine every single day. So I don't know. Am I just in a position where I'm not getting it? Or am I Teflon Don? And that sucker just can't attach to me.
They were
so I don't know. And if they tell me I'm going to die 5 years earlier or, 10 years from now, I'm going to come down with some insane cancer because of this. And there's these theories that this vaccine that they're giving you, it's made just to kill COVID, but it overrides your natural immunity. So you can get other diseases. Nobody knows. And I'm like, you know what? I'll play the roulette wheel. I'm 63. If I kick off in 5 years from now, whatever. I'm not sweating it. I am not going to let this run my life. And if I got to play the government's game in order to continue being a happy guy and being able to go wherever I want to go and be able to say fuck off to anyone I want, then fine. I got the card that proves it. Screw you. And that's the end of the story.
Amen.
And I don't break people's chops for saying I'm not getting it. Dude, if I didn't feel more comfortable about what I want to do, travel and do this and that, I wouldn't have got it either. Because this whole thing
you gotta be comfortable about the whole thing. So
yeah. So I'm fine.
Says Chassis John, the happy guy.
Exactly.
We got the celebrity.
Look at that, Terry.
We got a celebrity in the house.
Yeah, we got a celebrity.
He's swatting flies.
No, he isn't. He wasn't on the Monster Garage this week.
No, he wasn't.
Week.
I found out it's the 13th.
13th.
It's the 13th.
Sure
I watched the Corvette the other night. Man, that was a riot.
Yeah, that was whose bill was it? That was Dwayne Maddox.
Dwayne's.
Yeah, Dwayne Maddox, right. And,
and I think Brianna Hunt was on that one, wasn't she? No.
The girl did the
Audi and the one she can kiss her elbow.
Really?
Sophie,
yeah. So man, Sophie's putting down some stuff. Man, you been following her on Instagram?
She's the truth. Yeah. I love Sophie. Yeah. She's a sweetheart.
Yep.
So Lewis, did you know you were on that TV show when I sent you that picture the other day?
Yeah.
Now what was that? Just it takes 3 weeks and they edit and it's on TV already?
Listen, that was Sam's setup. I'm telling you, they don't play. When we were at the hotel after the show, well, before the show was over, they were giving out trophies. And Sam got on and he called out like 3 different vehicles and told them don't leave because he wanted to interview them.
Yeah.
So the show was completely over. He goes and interviews them. Then we all go back to the hotel. You know, I meet up with him in the lobby. And he's like, okay, we're getting ready to go do voiceovers and do some editing. And this is like 6, 7 o'clock at night. And he goes, I'll meet you guys at the pool later on. So his organization, man, they work. They don't mess around.
He's a nice guy.
Yep, and that's why he gets it on that fast.
Yeah. Nah, see the whole thing. Even when my little production of me, you know, like I leave and I go to my hotel rooms. You know, like I go off in this corner. When you see me, Lewis, when we're in SEMA, I always got my computer.
Yep.
Take my video, download it, go somewhere, do a quick little edit, so it's always there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then I make the real long one when I'm on the plane, you know, or the night before and put it out, you know, because you're gonna have so many people bombarding, you know, footage with SEMA when you go to Google search. So you want to make sure yours is like one of the first ones.
Top ones, yeah.
Yeah, you want to make sure.
Yep.
Yeah, Terry. So when you did Monster Garage, that was in Long Beach, right?
No, that was in Texas.
Oh,
yeah, so, it was in Dripping Springs.
Oh, so West Coast Choppers is actually in Texas now, right?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
No. I think the company
he lives in Texas. The company
he lives in Texas. I think it's still in Cali.
Because it's kind of funny because I was watching the episode on the boat. Was it the boat? Maybe it wasn't. Whatever. The guy from West Coast Choppers was on the episode, and he was doing a lot of fabricating and stuff. And then I swear there was a spot where they showed him at West Coast Choppers doing something. And so, but I remember going to Long Beach. I won a trip. The Viper remote starters, the Direct Electronics. I won a contest. Top 12 installers did the most remote starters back in. It had to be like 28 years ago. So you got to go to California. They paid the flight and everything. You tour the place on Friday. Saturday, you do whatever you want. They took everyone out to eat Friday night and then come back Thursday. So Saturday, a friend of mine who lives not far from here also won. So I took my girlfriend. I paid for the ticket. He did. And we all drove to Long Beach. And it was some Chinese buffet place. And then we went to West Coast Choppers. And when you walk in their showroom, they have all the cars from Monster Garage, a lot of them like that trike to 18-wheeler thing they did, and whole mess of stuff. That 55 or 7 Chevy that was, I don't know if it was a wagon. I think it was. Well, anyway,
the purple one. The purple
no, it was like white with flames or something.
Okay.
And we're talking how many years ago. And then they had this area where you could buy T-shirts and Converse sneakers, say West Coast. They had this giant fish tank with like a piranha or a shark or something. And I remember seeing the tank. And when you come around the side, that side, they have like these big fence over the garage doors, like a spider web thing.
Well, so, what are you talking? You talking like 2002, 2004, somewhere around there?
Probably. So when you go down that side, across the street is where they did Monster Garage. It was this like old warehouse building. And if you go down the street between and take a right, it's all the burnouts from they used to do on the TV show was all in that. It was all black. Remember they used to always do burnouts?
Yeah, I remember that. But no, they're in Texas. And Jesse, I think from the set, I'm not sure how far he lives. He doesn't live too far from where they film it. And I know he has a machine shop there. So they very well may be building motorcycles there as well. I'm not sure.
He probably just moved the whole thing.
A person to ask would be Brianna Hunn, because Brianna Hunn now works for Jesse.
Oh, really?
Yep, she now works. So she would be
Brianna, is that the one that was on the okay.
Yeah, Bitch and Rides, yeah.
Yeah. She's pretty talented.
No, she's extremely talented. Yeah. She was on I think the first episode. Which one was it? Was it the she was on the one with that rocket powered Jaguar.
Yeah.
That's what she was on.
Yeah. Jack said he's building them in Austin.
Yeah. Say again?
He's actually on my Facebook. Maybe we can get him on the show.
She's a sweetheart.
No, I'm saying Jesse though. We should try to get him. The problem is they're in a different time zone. It kind of messes with.
No, I've been trying to get Jesse for a minute. He's just hard to get a hold of.
You can forget it.
And march out on Sundays. He goes to church.
And he goes to church on Sundays. Yes, he made it a point. He's a funny guy though.
He sounds nerdy when he talks, but he's not. You know what I mean? He just
he's a funny guy, and you don't want to piss him off. I think he is too, but I mean, like, I was told don't go on there trying to be, like his best friend. And after the guy told me that, and I was like, my whole thing is no one is above a beatdown. So that's my whole attitude towards life. No one is above a beatdown. If a beatdown is needed, a beatdown shall be had. And I'm not a fan, even though like I like meeting people and all that stuff, and from my videos and everything like that. But if someone steps out of line, they'll like I'll walk away. But if they keep on running, then I'm turning back around. That's just how I was born. That's how I was raised. And so I remember the first day on the show. Like before we even start shooting, I was all nervous, right? And when the producers came up to me, "What's the matter, Terry?" And I was like, "I don't want to go to jail." He goes, "What are you talking about?" I goes, "If Jesse's the same way," this is before I met him. He says, "If he's the same way he was in 2002, yelling and screaming at people, it's not going to be good." And so the guy was just like, "Well, like you don't have anything to worry about." And I was like, "Well, why is that?" He goes, "Well, he's not going to mess with someone who he thinks might jump back in his face. Not calling him a sucker, but you're a pretty big dude. And so he would think twice." And I'm just like, "Well, I'm a nice guy. I don't want," he goes, "Yeah, but he doesn't know that. So you don't have anything to worry about." And he turned out to be one of the nicest guys. I mean, like, and by Wednesday, it's funny also, when they came up to me Tuesday night, a couple producers came up to me and said, "Terry, can we talk to you for a second?" I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he goes, "This is a network TV." I was like, "No, I know it's going to be on cable and all that." And he goes, and I said, "Why are you asking me? Why are you telling me this?" He goes, "You can curse." I was just like, "What?" He goes, "We noticed that everyone else is cursing like sailors, but you're not. We noticed you say a curse at all, for the past couple of days." And I was just like, That's not my thing, man. I was like, the whole thing is that I want to stay true to what I am. And that's and you said that's the reason why you got me on here. And I don't want it to be a thing where I'm dropping F-bombs left and right, to try to look, what you want me to look like. But then when someone goes to my channel and be like, wait a second, hold on.
Yep.
I want it to be linear. I want it to be the same plane, And
you did right.
It's like, I just thought that you were trying to hold back her and said, no, trust me, if I hit my finger with a hammer, you'll hear something. But for the most part, it's not my vocabulary really. And so that was funny. And then, and Dwayne Maddox, because Dwayne Maddox is pretty good friends with Jesse. And he also told me, he goes, if Dwayne has that country draw, if Jesse likes you, he's gonna come and talk to you, right? So, and he said, don't go in there, try to be his best friend. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And so I guess it was by Tuesday night, by Wednesday, I was Jesse's hey Terry guy, So we had a nice talk. Me and him had a nice talk because when you go to a shop, he plays nice music. Jesse, I tell you, the boy plays some good music. Matter of fact, I had my Shazam on constant, holding it up to the speakers in the shop because he was just playing some really good music. And like I said, he was playing Al Green. He was playing everything, right? So he comes to me, right? And, like I said, he goes to me, he goes, Terry, come here. He found out that, I was a DJ, and same with Body Drop. He's a DJ. So we have that. We shared the music and with the cars and all that. And he says to me, yo, Terry, who's this artist, right? So I listened to it because he hasn't played throughout the shop. And I was just like, that's the OJs. And he goes,
Love Train.
Love Train.
It was the OJ. I forgot. It was the OJs where it was like a B-side where you never really heard it, but you can tell the voice. You could tell the voice of what's his name, Walter Williams. And so I said to him, that's the OJs. And he goes, you don't know. I thought you knew music, Terry. This ain't, just listen, right? This is Jesse James. Right? And I'm like, it's the OJs. And he goes, you let me down, man. Yo, I thought you knew your music, Terry. Yo, I give you one more shot. Just listen. And I was just like, and I heard the voice and I was like, damn it, Jesse, that's Walter Williams from OJs. He goes, no, it's not. It's Ohio players. I was like, that is not the Ohio players. And so he goes, he's like, So he looks at his phone, right? So I went to him, I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, Jesse, hey, Jesse. Okay, let me explain something to you right here and right now. It's Tuesday, right? You're the Pope of welding, yes. Okay, but I'm the Pope of music. I said, so now I wouldn't be coming up in your shop. I said, well, I'm here and trying to teach you how to weld. So don't be trying to test me. And I said to him, if you do it again, Jesse, I'm gonna have to take away your soul card. All right. I walk away. You can see him trying not to laugh, right? And then I turned around. I was like, I hope we don't have to have this conversation again. And he just bust out. So we had a good time on there, and then there was one more thing that he tested me with. The first he comes to me. This is Thursday. Hey Terry, come here. I got something for you. I'm like, what, Jesse? I got to put this lift kit on this truck. He goes, I think you very well may be the first black guy on Monster Garage. And so I say to him, well, Jesse, I don't know how I feel about that. All black people keep Al Sharpton's number on speed dial. So, we might have to get involved in this, right? He goes, no, serious. I think you may be the very first black guy on Monster Garage history. That would make you the Jackie Robinson of Monster Garage.
That means you get two toolboxes instead.
So I said to him, I was like, and if I am, do I get something? He goes, well, yeah, we might have to figure something out. I was like, I tell you what. If I am the so-called Jackie Robinson of Monster Garage, right, you have to take a picture with me, right, and together and say, we here at Monster Garage embrace diversity. I want to introduce you to my newest best friend, Terry LSX. What's it called? On Instagram, such and such, Coverman66. Follow him and all that in front of your gazillion viewers, and you got to post it on your Instagram. And he goes, well, we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. All right, cool. So I go back under the truck, right? And I hear him call one of the producers over, and I hear him whisper, find out if Terry's the first black guy on Monster Garage.
Like you don't remember.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had like what? How many shows and all that? I don't know.
A lot.
Oh yeah, a lot. And so he goes to me, Terry, come back here. I got something for you. He goes, I'm sorry, you're not the first black guy in Monster Garage. I was like, oh well, it happens. And he goes, yeah, we had a black welder. I forget what her name was. He told me what her name was, and she would be the first one. I was like, wait a second, hold a second. You said first black guy.
Right. Now he's turning around. He didn't say black person.
So you didn't say black person. I said, you said first black guy. And he goes, no, we're not splitting hairs. And damn it, Justin, we're going to split some hairs right here, right now. You told me the first one. I'm the Jackie Robinson. You said the first black guy. So how do you want to take this picture? You want your arm around me? You want mine around you? How we doing this? And so he goes, I tell you what, you may not be the first black person on Monster Garage, but you're going to be the most memorable. And I was like, well, I'll take that then.
Yeah, that's right. Take
that.
So that was the girl that he had call in this past week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
The one that did the fire truck thing or whatever.
She did the fire engine build. Yeah. What's her name? She called me up. She called me up and I was like, hey, I talked to her for a good minute now. She also called because he called her up on the show.
Yeah, the other black lady was having a hard time.
She was, and she's really a good mechanic. She's a BMW mechanic. She's really
I saw that.
What's her name?
But it's intimidating when you're on the show.
When you're on the show and you got people looking at you and all that,
it's intimidating.
And even though you're sitting in there with your group of people, you got Jesse staring at you, you got the cameraman and the sound guy and all that. You kind of want to move it quick. And so I can understand, because there's a couple of spots where I was a little nervous because I was like, if this truck doesn't start, because they didn't give us the key, and I was nervous because I was like, damn, I don't have the key to find out this truck starts. I even asked Jesse, I said, Jesse, does this truck run? He goes, well, it's here, isn't it? I was like, yeah, but was it on its own motor? Or
yeah.
Y'all guys drive or push this thing in? And he goes, oh, I don't remember, whatever. And I was just like, oh my God, here we go. So I was looking for the keys, and the keys we didn't have the keys up until I think it was Thursday or Wednesday night or Thursday. I think it was Thursday morning I saw the keys. And before then I was just looking. I was like, I want to make sure these best I can. So I looked at the diesel engine and everything like that, and they have a computer in there. And I noticed there was a couple of things which was like unsavory, which may not, I don't think they sabotaged it, but it's an old truck. So maybe it was a thing where I was like, like how when you have the computer clips, like to the computer, you have the JB1 connectors, the connectors, you have to put them on, and then there's like a little swing arm that goes down.
Yeah.
It locks them in.
It locks them in.
And it pulls it in.
Right. Now, if this thing is up, it's not, it looks like it's connected, but it's not connected because it's got to be down. It's got to be pushed down on it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I saw one that was up like that, and I was just like, okay, not today. Not today. So, and then we got the keys, and I was just so happy to start. I was like, thank you, God.
So I watched the boat one. I watched the boat one, and at the end, they couldn't get it to work. And then they blew up the boat after. I'm like, all right, so he had this Corvette. He pulls the motor out. Did he take the motor back out of the boat, like take a sawzall and cut a huge hole and pull that motor out before they blew it up?
I'm not sure, but I would, people always ask me that. People ask me about that. And my response is, what would you have done? I
would have took that motor and put it back in the car.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know for car.
Sure. I don't know for sure what he did, what they did, but
I would say no, because it's nothing to the production. You know what I mean?
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You got to think about it. I mean, like,
well, whose car was that they pulled the motor out of?
Yeah, is it worth it to take that motor out? And what are you going to do? You're going to have it sit around?
Yeah, no.
Like if you think of it like a car guy, yeah, you take the motor out. But if you think of it, like, okay, as Jesse James or either production crew where they got money to spend, let that motor go down into the ground or under the sea or whatever, Yep. Me, I would take that motor out and try to sell it to Chassis John. He's a big block. Yeah.
What time is that show on?
It's coming on 10 o'clock.
Oh, that late. Damn it.
Yeah, and you can see it. Yep. If you look it up, it'll say there's even a picture of me like under the truck, like You know, but no, I looked it up and it says it's going to be on the 13th of September, Monday. Not this Monday coming up, the following Monday.
Well, DVR's already set.
The following Monday. And, you know, like I said, it was a cool experience. I really loved it. I really do.
And you represented well.
I appreciate it. And Jesse told me that I'm gonna. He said by the time you finish, Terry, you can forget about the Chevelles and Camaros. You're gonna be opening up some type of Ford lifted pickup truck shop in New York. I was like, never. Like never.
Do you remember the show he had? They were building hot rods and stuff in Texas.
Yeah, that's when he moved to Austin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Austin's
Speed shop.
Yeah. And it wasn't around long. Man, he used to yell at the other guy, that partner that he had. And
the shop's still there. They're still working out of it.
And Jesse has nothing to do with it?
No, he does.
No. I remember they were building a hot rod, and they're like, yep, it's this guy. I can't tell you who it's for. And then Paul Tuttle walks through. Oh, Paul Sr. is going to be on whatchamacallit's show, I think, in another Wednesday or two. Not that we want to talk about his show, Lou's show. But, yeah, I remember they building. Imagine Jesse building a car for Paul Tuttle. I'm like, who would ever think, you know?
Why not?
Me and Lou are still friends. You can talk about him.
Oh, Lou's a good guy.
Hey guys, I'm gonna bail. I gotta get up early, and I'm wiped already. So
yeah, I gotta jump too.
Hey, LaSalle, I just saw the comment that you did on my tune thing. Thank you.
Dude, man, what dashboard is that? That's cool.
Okay, this car is going to be in the SEMA booth, the Hotchkiss booth at SEMA. You remember Louis Lee, that Chevelle that was there, that burgundy Chevelle in the Hotchkiss booth last time we went to SEMA? Mm-hmm. Like a 68 Chevelle that was flared out?
Yeah. Yep.
Same company that built that car is the same company that builds those Chargers. I call them Challengers, 612 Auto Works. Mm-hmm. Now they're building that 73 Trans Am. It's got the LT1 with a Maggie supercharger in there. And they took, basically what they did was they didn't just put the engine in. They took they cut the firewall out, pulled in a 2016 firewall with the front carry, everything. So the front of that car, from the wheels, from the front wheel, engine, transmission on back, underneath, is 2016, but the outside of the car is a 73 Firebird Trans Am.
So the whole subframe, everything is late model.
Everything. So it's been welded in. So it's a solid frame now. It's been welded in.
Yeah. So they grafted it in from the cowl forward.
Yep. And they got the Hotchkiss setup on there and all that. And
sure.
It was a pain because it wasn't a pain. You know what it was? It was working on 7 cylinders. So I had to go in there and tune it. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, this car's working on 7 cylinders, I think. And then, but I didn't want to make sure. So when you step the gas, you feel that hesitation, you know. And so what I did was, like the guy from Trans Am Worldwide, the tuner there, he's my partner. And so I got on the computer and I was just like, from day one, I was like, this thing is working on 7 cylinders. I know it.
Downstream?
Huh? No, no, you know what it was? You know how I got to go back to basics sometimes because, like when you have people building the car and he had a GM mechanic come in there and service that engine, now he tuned it up for it to work, but I got to tune it for performance because I got the HP tuners and all that.
Sure.
So he has the GM, computer. And between what we found out was between moving, like the car back and forth and, like building they're going to build a roll cage in there. So it's tight. And so I was doing my tuning and all that. I was like, I pushing this thing up a little bit. And I was like, I don't know if that's a problem. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just check. Because I didn't want to say, hey, I want to go and check. I looked at the spark plug wires, and usually either one of the wires is on one of the headers, and you can see, like a burn mark, and right away. And they weren't on the collector or anything like that. So I was like, all right, cool. So what I decided to do is like process elimination. So I had the car on, and I took off the plug from the coil, all 8 of them. All right. So I started on the passenger side up, no change in sound. Went from the driver's side front to the back, No change in sound until I got to the number 7. I was like, why couldn't I just start there?
It was a back coil.
So it was number 7. And so now I got to figure out, okay, now is it a coil? Is it a spark plug? Is it a plug? Is it, like the injector? You know what I found out the next day? The spark plug, because it looked like it was in. It looked like they were on, but it wasn't making contact. You know how you got to push them on?
Yeah, that little snap.
It's a snap. It wasn't. That's what it was. So I was just like, all this time I wasted, and it's, like I didn't want to. I felt that, they knew what they were doing, and they do. You can see they turn out some good stuff. But remember, whenever you're doing a tune or something like that, you got to go back to basics because, you got to go back to the basics. And I thought these guys, like especially the guy, like I was a little intimidated. I was like, this guy's like 30 years GM mechanic, so I didn't even think that it could have been just a little. But lesson learned: always check the spark plugs, check everything.
Overlooking obvious.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Good night.
I got to bounce, guys.
All right.
Take care, guys.
All righty.
Good.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah, speaking of which, I got to bounce too. I had a long day over at 612.
You got in half a second.
Yeah, and we're gonna try to get my Le Mans over there to do quarter panels.
Nice.
And over the winter, Yeah. But John, you were right. That whole front fascia comes right off and slides right in.
Yeah.
On that Firebird, it's like there's no bolts on the. You would think there would be bolts on the side. You know what I'm saying? Holding it closer. But I may do something like that with my GTO, depending if I got too much of a gap.
Yeah. Well, I won't have any gap because I bought there's a company here in Florida makes a fiberglass nose cap.
Ooh.
Now,
do they make them?
It's made for guys that do like SCCA racing.
Right. So you don't mind smacking it up.
Right. So they bolt them on, and they usually will put like a screen where the grills would go.
Okay.
And then a lot of the ones I've seen, they just take a piece of aluminum and they put a kink in it so it follows the contour, and no headlights. But
I've seen that.
It's got mounting tabs, but I'm gonna have to add some other stuff to it.
How does it look? Does it look like an afterthought? Or does it look like...
Oh no! It's dead on. It's molded off of a 71 Firebird nose.
Okay.
They took the Endura rubber bumper, made a mold out of it. My grills fit right in it. I got, reproduction 70 grills. They drop right in. I have the stuff that makes the headlights work on those 70 to 73s. Unlike all the other cars, there's a plate that actually bolts to the nose cap. And then that's where those plastic standoffs go, and the springs and the cup and that rim for the headlight. So those are mounted to that nose piece.
Not
as opposed to you would think that they would be mounted to the core support. Right. And then the nose itself, there's like these S-shaped steel pieces that bolt to the frame. On a factory Firebird, the nose is not attached to the fenders.
No, not at all.
When you put that thing on a lift and it bends, you see the nose come away from the fender, which is like really weird.
That's the same.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weld in some metal tabs to the inside of the fender at the very front. I'm gonna put some stuff with some, I'm gonna basically make some tabs that follow the contour of the fender.
Right.
And then I will add a large fiberglass tab around the inside of the nose in front of where the headlight thing goes. So you could literally bolt the nose to the fender.
Yeah.
And there'll be a loose enough fit that my body guy will be able to move the nose around, get it in position, and lock it down with like either 4 or 6 bolts will hold that nose cap to the fender.
Yeah, because there's holes right there. There's holes right there in the fender.
Right, exactly. So we're going to utilize that and make some flanges and modify this nose so it's more usable than if it was a race car. If it was a race car, you would probably put them on with a couple of Zeus tabs, or something, quarter turn fasteners, or just figure out how to, womp it on there. And if you hit somebody, the thing's destroyed anyway. It doesn't make a difference. But race cars are race cars.
I thought you were racing this car, though.
This car will never see the track.
His wife's car.
Dog. Well, you know when it'll see the track? I'll tell you when this will see the track. Next year at drag week, this car will see the track. So I'm going to have to wind up putting in whatever I need to make it so that it's legit.
Did you tub it?
Yeah, it's tub.
Mini tub or big tub?
I don't do mini tubs.
I'm sorry if I insulted you.
I'm a man.
18 and a half or wider?
My tubs are 44 inches. Front to back. I got giant sized tires, man. I got 34.5-inch tall tires.
Yeah, I understand, because you need those when you don't race. I got you.
Exactly.
It's gonna have big fat tires, like I don't know if you can see them.
Big tires.
So you guys follow Muscle Machines? So this is that new Series 1. They finally come out with some new stuff. It's a GNX. Thing's pretty sweet.
Well, it's got big tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. It's tubbed.
Yeah. I finally found it. I've been trying to find one. I finally found it on eBay for like $4 and another $4 to ship it. But I got it. They've come out with their new website, Muscle Machines, like 4 months ago. And it's like coming soon. And I'm like, I kept, like whatever the date was, I think it was like July 1st. And then finally they come up with this new Series 1, and there's this, and there's this car, and this car, and this car. And they got some new, like, they look like flatbed cars, or flatbed truck, ramp truck with a car on top, some new stuff. And I've been wanting this Grand National GNX, and I'm like, finally, I was able to get my hands on it.
Yeah, that's the only way most people can get their hands on one of those GNXs from, right. I mean, so. I
wish they made a full size.
I have I got a Camaro I bought years and years ago. I forget who makes it. It's a narrowed. It's a Pro Street Camaro.
What color?
I believe it's silver. It's like 125 scale. It's still in the box. I've never taken it out of the box. I forget who makes them, but it's like totally badass. It's got like 18-inch wheels in the front and what would be like a giant 22 in the back.
Like an Ertl.
I was gonna say that Ertl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like that, but it's not with the blower. But it's the same kind of thing. Yeah, I've never taken it out of the box.
This was the one that you have to put together, and it was all messed up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna build this thing. I mean, this thing's badass.
That's really cool. It's a 70 Z28 silver with the black stripes on it.
This is 68.
And it's got a narrow rear in it. And it's sitting in the box to this day. I haven't taken it out of the box.
I remember when the Earls first came out. I guess they were like in the early 2000s, maybe late 1990s. I think I forgot when they actually first came out. I remember, let me just buy all of them because, not all of them would like, it got to the point where, okay, I can get that one. I get one. Then they would like come with different colors. I was like, well, I'm not going to go that far, So I got like maybe like 15 still in the box because not even so much to sell or give to my son or anything, but they were just cool looking. They were just very detailed. The GTO, the Camaro, they had a Cuda. I did get the two Cudas because they had the AAR Cuda and they had the Hemi Cuda. I couldn't tell between the two, but my favorite is the AAR Cuda.
I like those.
It's out in front of the rear wheels on the AAR.
Yeah, they got the little. Yeah. I always liked the AAR Cuda. Out of
it's got that little Trans Am spoiler in the back.
I always loved the AAR Cuda.
Yeah, me too. Nice car.
I like that the stripes on the back. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
always like stripe in half going like that. Yeah, I love the 8. It's a pretty look. Even the hood is a better looking car.
Yeah. I love that hood.
Car. Yeah. And they came in really cool colors.
Yes.
The AARs were like most of them were like that lime green.
Oh,
that's what I was just gonna say. There's a lot of
lime green. They had the orange one. They had the pink one, which
a white one.
I would have probably got that pink one. If the year's 1970. Yeah, I got a couple $1,000. I'm gonna give me an AAR Cuda. That pink one's nice.
Pink's cool. Totally.
And I think it's worth a lot of money now because there are probably not many of them.
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge.
Is that what it's called?
You know, you got to watch Graveyard Cars because Plymouth and Dodge use the same colors. And in one of them, it was Moulin Rouge, and the other one called it Panther Pink. So I think the Panther Pink was the Challenger. The was the Plymouth.
Well, fellas, it's always a pleasure, but I'm going to go and try to get something to eat real quick. I shouldn't do it because.
Hey, by the way, speaking of that singing, don't quit your day job.
Oh, never. Yeah,
really.
Maybe pick up the drumsticks instead.
Hey, you know what? Let me just show you something before you go.
Ray's going to show me something. Ooh. Ray's going to reach in his magic bag of tricks like Felix the Cat.
Oh, it's right here. Look what I got.
That's a great cartoon.
That was an awesome cartoon, man. I don't know. What was that little guy's name that used to blow holes in the mountains? Vavoom?
Yeah.
I do have one of the world's largest. This is the disco Pink Panther.
Oh, wow.
There's another disco one with the big necklace. And regular one.
I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised.
I am.
I remember when they brought the Pink Panther mobile to the car show at the Nassau Coliseum.
I bought this guy.
I remember that Pink Panther mobile.
I bought this guy home.
It didn't have a steering wheel either.
Did you really?
I did.
That's so cool.
What did your wife say when you came home?
Look, you guys look so cute together.
Everybody knows it. I got little ones in my car. Like he's my guy. I got stuff all over the place. It's Pink Panther.
You got Pink Panther?
Yeah, that Pink Panther mobile didn't have a steering wheel.
Yeah, I didn't see that at the Coliseum.
It had two thumb controls. You held on. It was just like the controller that Aurora made.
Right.
Slot cars. And it was electric motor. And you push the right button and the wheels would go to the right. You push the left would go to the left.
Yeah.
And the person that drove the car sat like almost laying down.
Right.
Because it had didn't it open up like this or something like that?
And they held these two controllers to steer the car.
That's cool.
Yeah, but they're not getting that car up to like 100 miles. I mean, it's probably like.
I don't think that car saw the high side of 25.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Hey, Terry, I haven't seen any videos from you. You haven't texted me.
I post a lot, man.
No, you remember you wanted my phone number so you could text me something?
Well, you should just subscribe or either. Do you have YouTube?
I am.
Do you have Instagram?
No.
Do you have YouTube?
I don't use it much.
See there.
If I get on YouTube, I'm watching all these videos and this drum thing and this thing. I got to stay away from it.
What about Facebook? You got Facebook?
Yeah, of course.
You got Facebook? Then
yeah, but I try to stay off of it. You know what I mean?
The girlfriend gets looking to get
all the time.
So you want notifications when there's content, but you don't want to go on a platform to watch.
No, always be a time I try to spend with the girlfriend, make them happy. You know what I mean? So
share the gift to Terry. You can watch, YouTube. Watch Terry. I mean, like it's a beautiful thing. Be like, yeah, that cat looks like Muhammad Ali. Look at him up there. You're like, that's my boy.
Share the time with the girlfriend and then stop busting Terry's balls.
Yeah, just hit the subscribe button and you get a notification and just plug it in.
Right.
I can't. You asked my number. I gave it to send it to you.
I understand, but I can't be going. I mean, like, who do you think you are?
Yeah, I know. You don't have time either. You're busy. I know. I'm just busting you.
I know you are, man. Yeah. Besides, I gotta come up there anyways. I'm low on clam chowder and fish chowder.
New England clam chowder.
I love me some clam chowder, man. And it's funny because as a kid, I used to I couldn't stand the New England clam chowder. I was like, nah, clam chowder's supposed to be red, tomato. Now
I like the New England stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's all about the New England one. I go up to Boston just to get some and come back on home, especially when they put bacon in it.
Come on out this way.
Yeah, well, you might see me. I'm gonna take a ride in that Blazer.
It's funny. I built that thing in '91, and I still have it. It's hard to believe.
God bless, man. I'd still have my A to Z 28 if it wasn't for traffic.
The band.
Yeah, the band.
No, like a high heel boys.
No, not traffic. Not traffic. No. They close up the thruway. They close up the thruway, and it was they ran right through my main. The garage shop is right off the main road. It's right off, and they had traffic going through there. And so I just happened to have my Z28, 80 Z28 with the tune port injection 5-speed sitting right out there, and looking all kinds of beautiful, right? And it was getting to the point where I was just like, that was just painted a couple of years prior and all that. And I was all into my 69 Camaro, and I was building the Chevelle at that time, the 71 Chevelle. And so, not that I didn't care for the 80 Z28 because I still love that car. That's my car. That body style is my car.
It's a good car.
It's a beautiful car. But, like I was really into the Chevelle because I never had one.
You lost interest and started doing something else.
Well, you know what it is? I had like 30 of those body styles between Trans Ams and that body style second gen Trans Ams and Z28s. I had about 30 of them. And I always thought, not that I was looking to sell it, but a guy came by and he's like, how much do you want for the car? It's like, I gave him a ridiculous number. I was like, now this is, what year was this? It had to have been, I'd say 2004, 2001, somewhere around there. I was like, 14 G's. And he goes, would you take 13? And again, I'm thinking, okay, this will finish my Chevelle, And I was like, I tell you what, I'll take 13, but I keep the wheels because I just bought Boyd's, the Junkyard Dogs, 10-inch. So I was like, I take the wheels. He goes, do you have the stock wheels? I prefer those anyways. I was like, yeah, in the backyard. So he worked it out. He came back down, I guess maybe 2 weeks later, and he drove that car back up to Albany. And I said to him before you left, I was like, if ever you find yourself wanting to sell this car, make sure that I'm the first person you call. And because I didn't want to sell it around town, the last thing I wanted to see is the car smacked up to it, by selling it to a kid, all smacked up on it. Look, I didn't want to see that. Once I sell the car, I never want to see the car again unless I'm going to buy it again. Yeah. And so he was up in Albany, and he called me up. I guess maybe 5 years later, he says, "Terry, I found myself in a situation where I had to sell the car." And I remember and I was like, "I'd love to take it off, but I don't have room, and I got like too many projects already." Again, I will have a 78. Well, 78. I like the 80 better. I will have an 80 Z28. At some point, of course, it'll be Ellis infused. Yeah. And so, I mean, that's just the car I'm just comfortable in. I mean, if someone's like, here's $20,000, go get yourself a car to build just a race or something like that, I try to find like an 80 Z28 and let's tweak it out. And I'm just comfortable. That's just a car that's just like, I'm home. I just feel comfortable.
I pro-streeted one of those and we gave it away.
I didn't get it.
A picture of my buddy Dave's car.
We got a bunch of sponsors and they gave us. We bought the car for I don't know, like $2,000, and I gutted it. It was ugly. It was an ugly brown one.
Remember we could get those cars for like $1,500, $2,000.
Yeah.
This is my buddy Dave.
Yeah.
You can't really see it good on there, but
no, you can see it.
Oh, a minute.
That's my car right there. That's my car. That is my car.
Yeah, we built it. We did a narrowed rear with a 6-point roll bar, custom paint, had a 355 Chevy in it, and we gave it away.
This thing's got one of those Big Al motors. Remember Big Al?
Yeah.
Actually, was that Big Al? No, it's not Big Al. Who's the other guy at Jersey?
Pat Newsy?
No.
Not anymore.
Todd Christensen?
Big Albert.
Carolina.
No. South something, maybe? No.
Southside Speed?
Oh, I think that's right. I think that's what it is.
Could be.
But the guy that owned it did chassis work for a living. So he built that car to do like 8 seconds, but it was never an 8-second car. It was just, he overdid it. He cut out the inner supports in the doors, all these big holes everywhere on the sheet metal, light in the car.
That's the stuff I did. What a mistake.
Full roll cage coming through the firewall, coming, back down to the front where your frame rails are. I wired the car originally when it was the race car with the overhead, the painless kit, and then we modified the stock wiring harness to make it all street legal. So the key overrides so he still starts it up here, but the key, and then you got to put all the blinkers and everything. And I built a custom dash. There's like freaking, I don't know, like 12 gauges in this thing, and pretty cool. We smoothed the firewall, and hit all the wires. And a nice clean car. It's got 29 by 15 and a halves in the back with a 9-inch.
You know what I saw the other day? I saw 2 of them in one day. I was like, I should play some type of numbers or something. This is incredible. I saw 2 IROCs. And I'm talking about like not like 2 IROCs on the road. I was on the driving, in the morning, and 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, IROC, that's kind of cool. I haven't seen one of those in I don't know how long. That's kind of cool,
Third gens, right? The 4 square headlights.
Like 87,
88.
87, yeah, somewhere around there. And then I was like, okay, cool. I was like, oh, I can't believe I saw IROC, man. That's what's up. Then I go on the highway. I was going to, where was I going? I think I was going to bring my wife something. She forgot it. This was like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And there's another one. It's not the same one. I'm like, what are the chances of seeing 2 IROCs?
I got a guy that lives in the area that drives. He's got a 79 Camaro, green. It's kind of clapped out, but it's all there. And I see the guy like almost every other day driving around town.
Is it a Z28?
No, it's not a Z.
It's Berlinetta or regular Camaro. Hey, they look nice. I like them.
But it's like you don't see second gen Camaros.
No, they're all raced up, or it's kind of hard to do.
Exactly.
I just had an IROC Camaro convertible come in about a month and a half ago. I did a radio, a couple of pairs of speakers. It's kind of funny. I haven't done one. I used to do them back in the day, when the cars were new, and haven't seen them. And
you had the IROCs coming in. You had the Monties and the G bodies, and you had
lots of Grand Nationals and Monties.
Grand Nationals coming in there. Now you hardly ever see those. I'm still waiting for my buddy. He went out. He graduated from college. He's actually one of my friend's husband. Nice guy. He graduated from college in '88. He went out and bought himself a brand new Grand National. Still has it. It hasn't ran in like 25 years.
Wow.
And he says, Terry, I'm saving it for my son. If your son doesn't want it, I'm going to give it to you. Son's out the house.
Now listen it.
He doesn't want that car. Really? So, but Sterling, he likes the idea of having that car. He likes the idea because it'll take him back to when he was in college. But I told him, I said, yeah, but you're going to get in that car and, you're used to driving like a brand new Audi, BMW, and you're gonna get in that car and you're gonna hate it. You're really gonna
driving an old truck.
Yeah, you're gonna hate it. It's not gonna. You're gonna all the memories and all that. But then when you're hearing the rattles and squeaks and all that you overlooked back then, that now they're sticking out in your mind. And your wife, even though she was in the car back when you had it and it was all cool and everything like that, this car's a piece of crap.
Not cool anymore.
I must
get
be
rid of it.
When I put my car together and I had like no interior, just 2 bucket seats in the back seat, no carpet, no door panels, and it rattled like a box of rocks, and I didn't care. It was just great that I was driving it again. I really didn't give a shit less. So I guess it's all individual.
That's it. I can't wait to get this thing fired up and go take it for a test run.
Yeah, but I will.
A long time.
It's been a long, but I will. I'm not even playing around. I'm going rubber everything. I'm not going poly. I'm not going Delurim. I'm going, the control arms, it's almost like you have to, because if you want to get the new geometry and all that stuff, you're going to have, there's no company that makes the correct geometry control arms that has rubber bushings. I wish there was, because I would.
There's something to be said for the body mounts. I went with poly in my car, and I'm thinking, maybe I should have gone rubber.
They're stiff, aren't they?
Yeah.
I got solid aluminum mounts in this thing.
Yeah,
See, I've
always had solid mounts though.
Yeah.
See, my thing is I tell people when we get into this argument, when we get into this discussion, I was like, let's say you can go back into a time, right, and get yourself what's a 70 Chevelle, okay? You get yourself a 70 Chevelle, and you bring that car back. Now, perfect, no miles on it, 70 Chevelle sitting right there. All you got to do is just change from those 14-inch wheels to 18-inch wheel, all right? And that car will handle better.
Yeah.
Instantly.
But I like the look of a
and then what you do is take those rubber bushings off of the sway bar, change those to poly, Now you got yourself one heck of a car that can handle it. It's fast and it's comfortable.
And put polyurethane frame bushings too.
No, leave them rubber.
Really?
Leave them rubber. Leave them rubber.
You want that little cushion, just a little.
Just a little cushion. You will leave those, because you know what it is? Most people don't drive their car. They build these cars, but they don't drive their cars to the car's limit.
Right.
Right.
They don't drive the car to the car's limit. They drive it to their limit, and their limit is rubber. Their limit is rubber. I mean, my 71
rubber.
It's polyurethane, everything. It's got the Delu rim, lower back control arms with the Johnny joints and everything like that. It's a harsh riding car, but it will corner.
What the hell's a Johnny joint?
Johnny joint is basically like those rear. You ever see those the eye bushings in the Carrier? Those bushings in the Carrier, the rubber bushings in the Carrier. Johnny joint. Johnny joint is basically like a rotor joint that goes in there. So it's not rubber, it's not poly, it's metal.
A Heim joint.
It's a Heim joint. Yes. Yeah, they call it Johnny joints. That's Chris Allison, I think they call it Johnny joints. But yeah,
the chassis Johnny.
You're right, Terry. Because back in the '80s, I had my Riviera, a '71 Riv, and a '73 Monte Carlo. And the Riv had a 455 in it. I put a big block into Monte, and I did just that. I went to gas shocks, new Moog coil springs, and I just went to urethane sway bar bushings. And with a good tire, I was using good BF Goodrich, the Eagle STs, and the cars rode so much better and handled so much better, but they still retained a comfortable kind of a ride.
Comfortable ride, exactly. Even though you're going, because what happens is these guys, let alone the whole harshness of the control arms, the harshness of the body bushings, poly. Let's say we just do all poly on there. Now you're going from like a 14-inch wheel to an 18, 19, 20-inch rim.
17 is enough.
There's no cushion. There's no cushion.
Right.
I'm 18, but there's no cushion. Now, when you have a tire wall this to oppose to this, you give up a lot of cushion right there.
Yes, but you also give up your handling and your corner.
You better handling on a low profile, obviously.
That's why I like the 18, because the 18 you still have a side.
There's no roll or nothing.
You don't have that roll.
I'm running 17s on my car, and I'm thinking about going to a 16 on the front so I can get a little bit of a fatter sidewall. But I'm afraid I'm going to clip the back ends of the fender. That was always, the Pontiacs are always known for that.
Yeah, and my whole thing is, like I said, like these, if you're gonna have a race inspired car for the street, think about this. When there's a reason why people don't drive their race cars to the track.
Yeah.
Because it's
not
a riding car. You don't want to drive your race car to the track. So what do these race car drivers do once they're done racing? They put their car on a trailer and then they jump in their F350 with the air conditioning, all comfortable, hitting train tracks and all that nonsense, not thinking about it. But then you go on and you building this race car that should be on the track, but it's it's on the street. You're gonna hit a train track. You going over sideways, and it's not right. As far as articulation, everyone's like, "Oh, articulate." I was like, if your car's capabilities articulating 30%, why do you need an articulation setup that's 100%? Unless you're doing a rock crawler.
It's really funny when I get my friend Kevin's GTO. He's got a 68 GTO convertible, and we'll go to a cruise night, and I'm like, damn, I just love driving in this car. It's like quiet. It just floats. It's like, like I said, over the train tracks. Then we take my car, and it's like, let's go, boys. It's everything is just like stab, steer, shifting. It's like, boom, you're hitting a bump. It's it's rock solid, but you can go like 90-degree corners in it.
That's the thing. You got to figure out but I still feel there's a happy median to everything.
Yeah, there is. But a lot of times the problem is you got to build a couple cars to figure out what that is. And, you're hitting on the formula. You're exactly right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they're like saying, with the rubber bushings in the Carrier, it binds and all that. I'm like, yeah, but do you drive your car to the point where that car will bind? No. So yeah, it will bind if you're going, like rock crawling, true. You need your articulation. Yeah, you need your rear end to move freely and all that stuff.
Right.
But if you're going around a turn at like 85 miles an hour, your articulation may be 20% of the car. or 20% of what the car can articulate.
It's that much.
You need a full 100% when you never will see that.
Right.
You're never going to see that. And I don't know. So I definitely feel I'm going rubber everything back on that car except the sway bars, the control arms. What's it called? They, like the rear control arm. Detroit Speed. They're the only company that make rear control arms for the car that have a high deli rim. Is it called deli rim?
Check out this place called Spawn Racing. SPOHN. They're in PA. They do F-body stuff. They do a lot of F-body is their forte, but they sold me the control arms for the A-body.
Really? Are they rubber or poly?
They're poly.
All right. Spawn.
Yeah, Spawn.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Spawn. Whatever.
Spoon, whatever.
Yeah.
Nice
guys.
No, the matter of fact, they endorsed my Trailblazer.
Okay.
They got the Trailblazer. What's it called? Oh, the bar in the back. Not Centerlink.
That's not a. Is it a Watts link?
Not the Watts link. This is to keep the truck from tracking over the wheels.
Panther
bar. Yes.
Right.
Yes, and also they have control arms in the rear of that. Yes.
My wife's Cruise has a freaking Watts link in it. I was like, first time I had the car in the lift, I'm like, what? I'm like,
no, what?
What? I was like, what? Cruise. Like, holy
those things
shit.
they're complicated. There's too much stuff.
But this is like a I don't know. It wasn't that complicated. It was kind of dumbed down. It was right behind the rear, and it just goes off to this.
Goes like that. One hits the frame, and one hits the axle, or something like that.
Yeah.
Watts link, man. I know what that is. Like, holy shit.
Well, gentlemen, it's a slice of heaven always talking with you, but I'm going to have to go. I'm going to still have to try to get me something to eat, and my cats are acting up. I don't know why these cats are fighting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Stop. Yeah. But anyways, always be easy, everyone.
All right, Terry.
Guys, real
Catch
soon.
you later, brother.
See you in the hot sun.
All right. No hot sun down here.
Oh,
nice. It's nice.
Well, it's bedtime for me, so
I'm getting tired
There
too.
you
I was
go.
back at work this week. From
John,
countdown.
John, you get Nancy just to hook up power to that thing and put some, just try to start it quick.
No, I'm afraid. I read too many stories about camshafts rounding off.
You and me both, brother. You and me both.
Get it ready and break it in and hope everything goes good.
On the stand.
I'm not taking that chance. This cam's coming out, and I'm putting in a roller cam.
But I was going to say that might even be better because it's an older grind with older lifters. It may be safe because they're talking about.
Well, I got to find out what this is. I have no clue.
Right.
So,
well,
who knows?
Yeah, you can always break the motor in with it.
And I don't know how old this motor actually is. I'm under the impression from the guy that I bought it from that it's been only sitting for about 2 years. So we'll see. But I'm totally fine with getting it out of here again now that I'm almost done. Pull the pan just to see what it looks like. See what I got.
Right.
See what kind of rods are in it. If it's a cast crank, if it's a forged crank. I mean, it could be a cast crank. It could be 2-bolt main, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, you're not racing it. Your wife's driving.
I'm not racing it. If I can make, 400 horsepower, 450 horse out of it,
you're fine.
I'm totally fine with that. Because this one's not the fast one, The fast one's the one that's behind this. Right. That's the one with the killer motor, with the Lenko transmission, with the 3 stages of nitrous, with all the stupidity. That's the next go round. So
that's it.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I just want something that's got big giant tires and looks like a mean ass car, but you turn the key on that steering column and it starts right up, and you put it in drive, and you can go get ice cream and drive to Daytona if you wanted to. I don't care.
If you're up here, you could try the hot dog Annie's. Little barbecue hot dog hole in the wall place. It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all I'm interested in.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next year or next week.
Yeah, we'll try it again.
All right. You be well.
All righty.